Hey there, top tier athletes. Coach Bronson and I here again. We're going to go over active shoulders, what that means for us, okay? So first off, the concept active shoulders just means you're working to stabilize your shoulders, right? You're not just in a passive position, sloppily, hanging out in crappy postures, okay? So it just means you're doing a good job, right? Wonderful job of being actively inactive. Right? so active shoulders. So a lot of places have been known to talk about pushing up the shoulders under loads. And Bronson and I both disagree that in general, that is the opposite of what we would like you guys to be doing here within our facility. So we're going to demonstrate active shoulders in a pulling pull-up. We're also going to demonstrate active shoulders in a press and an overhead squat position, which is the same as your snatch position. So first thing is I want Bronson to just put his arms overhead, and I want him to visually show you guys what's it look like to have his shoulders go up to his ears. Up to his ears is unstable, okay? We want down away from his ears. So we're trying to maximize space between the ear to the shoulder, all right? The more space he creates between those two parts, the more active he is through his shoulder blades, which leads directly to better stability of the shoulder. Shoulder is dependent on the blade's relationship with the rib cage, okay? So if you want to fix this stuff in general, you better train back here, okay?
And that will help not just with stability and strength and reducing risk of injury, but also makes your bar work and your bar work better, right? Because it increases power transfer. So the movement, we talk about all the time, using our hips, right? Use your hips to generate power. If your shoulders aren't active, you lose all that power in your shoulders. So you do all that great stuff through your heels, drive your butt, pop your hips, all that, and then you got weak shoulders and
yep. And as a strength athlete too, I'd say in all the different strength cultures that I've been a part of, we all unanimously agree, no matter which culture we walk into, that if you want to pick out the male or female in the room that's probably the strongest, they're the people that have the back muscles just popping out, and they're really good and strong at pulling things. It's true in weightlifting, it's true in powerlifting, it's true in CrossFit, right? So if you want to search for a strong human being in the room, you look at their back muscles, and that's a good indication whether that human being is strong and stable, right? So Bronson's going to hop up on the bar. He's going to keep his elbows nice and straight. He's going to show us scapular pull-ups. So what that is just a visual for you guys on screen to show him actively pulling this stuff down. Because here, he's inactive, right? And then he engages through the musculature through here to pull himself up. His elbows aren't doing anything. So this is putting him in a position where he's got to teach his nervous system how to talk to the musculature back here without the distraction of what's occurring in his arms. So many people jump up on a bar to do toes to bar, pull-ups, chin-ups, muscle-ups, and they pull from here first because they don't even know how to talk to this stuff back here, right? Super important to create that space between the ear and the shoulder, and really important to walk away from the experiences feeling like you're just a little closer to understanding what it feels like to control your own muscles back there. So now, same exact visual should occur in the press, okay? So when Bronson presses that bar up, we don't want the shoulders as high as they are now, right? We want the shoulders to stay locked down while his arms move up and down. And it doesn't matter if he's doing a push press, a strict press, or a jerk. The end result should be we visually see the shoulders down when the weight is overhead, right? Shoulders down means active back, active shoulders, okay? So, good. And then same thing in an overhead squat. So we take our snatch grip, and then we're visually looking for space again. Right now, what we see from Coach Bronson is a fault that's common. So he's showing us for posture, right? He's letting his shoulders and his head round forward. They're internally rotating, right? Often is a compensation for the desk jockeys that come into the weightlifting CrossFit world and just try and throw themselves into stuff. So the crux of the elbow is a visual to help us as coaches and athletes know, am I internally rotating? So right now, the elbow is facing you guys at the camera, and that's an incorrectly internally rotated shoulder position. If he takes the crux of his elbow and points it up to the ceiling, which is the same as his armpits facing you guys, then now he's in a much more stable, correct, externally rotated position. This is active shoulders, okay? So his job is to stay in that active position the whole time he's going up and down in his squats.
Which, even though I'm really good at doing it, I still have some internal. There's always going to be some. The idea is just to fight against it as much as possible.
That's Bronson made a really good comment there, right? It's like someone might get at the top of their overhead squat, actively engage the shoulders, and think their job's done, right? But your job isn't done until the set's done. So as you're going up and down, you have to talk to your muscles. You gotta think with intention, keep the external rotation, prevent the elevation of the shoulders, feel the mid back. When I teach the students in groups, one of the things I try and impress in all weightlifting, kettlebell, powerlifting, CrossFit doesn't change, is that if you put anything overhead, which by the way applies to a handstand push-up and handstand walk too, put anything overhead, it should feel like it's being supported by your shoulder blades and upper back. That if instead you feel like all the work's happening in your neck and your shoulders, I'm betting that if I were to see you at that moment, we're probably seeing some level of internal rotation of the shoulder, some level of elevation of the shoulder, and that's why your shoulders are so tired instead of your back muscles being tired.
Yeah, and it's not about always being in the position, it's about trying to be in the position.
Right.
So don't get discouraged if you're doing your overhead squat and you're good here and then you get to here and you start rolling in. Just keep fighting. Fight for that position. Over time, it will improve and it will be better. So don't just give up. You got to keep pushing.
Absolutely.